It's a busy week for releases across all different platforms, and I've got a rundown of some of what you can see right now. This video is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go to expressvpn.com/Murrell to see how you can get 3 months free, and stay tuned after the video for more info. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Murrell, and we are looking at a busy week ahead in theaters, on streaming, on broadcast, all kinds of different shows and movies, so many that it's hard to keep track of. That's why I'm doing a new regular show here on the channel where I take a look at the whole week and just pick out several things that you might be interested in across different genres and different kinds of movies and TV. A couple of notes about this week's releases. Originally, Barbie was set to make its streaming debut for premium video on demand, meaning the high-price rentals and the high price purchases this Tuesday, but that date reportedly has been pushed back to at least next week, so Barbie will not be available for you to watch at home this week. Also, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem was originally supposed to debut for premium video on demand this Tuesday, but that date was pushed to last Friday. So it's available right now if you want to do those higher price rentals or purchase it to watch at home. And going back to last week's show, which was the first time I did this spotlight, I did end up watching a few of the different things that I featured. First of all was The Equalizer 3, which came out in theaters last weekend. I'll be doing a full rundown of the Labor Day box office later this week here on the channel, but if you want to see my review of The Equalizer 3, then you can click the little card up in the corner. I also watched the Netflix live-action adaptation of One Piece, all 8 episodes of the first season. I'd never seen anything involved with One Piece before, and I also did a review of that entire season, and you can see my review for that in the little card up in the corner. And finally, also looping back to last week, I wanted to mention that I also did indeed pay to go see Slaughterhouse last Wednesday night, and it was like half of the movie that I hoped it would be. The first half was kind of a groaner. I was like, I'm not so sure about this. But the second half really picked up and was the movie that I hoped it would be. And I think that Slaughterhouse is the kind of movie that's going to be a great cult midnight movie for people to program in the years ahead. So if you're looking for an actual kind of fun movie, don't put too much investment into it. But if you're looking for something that's just fun to have on, if you have people over, or if you're programming one of those midnight things that's not too formal, then I think that Slaughterhouse really does fit the bill, because as it goes, it really does understand the kind of movie that it should be. Finally, I'm also very aware that of the projects that I'm talking about this week, many of them involve writers and actors that are currently on strike. They're on the picket lines, multi-month strikes that have been going on against the AMPTP. I've been covering those strikes here on the channel, but I also wanted to point out that there are 2 places in the description below, the Entertainment Community Fund and the Go for PAs Alliance, that are helping out-of-work people during the strike. Those organizations are also getting 5% of my advertising revenue. I'm splitting that between these 2 different organizations, and I've already been able to donate several $100s just in the last couple months from people watching the shows and generating ad revenue. So thank you. By watching this video, you are contributing to both of those organizations. And I also wanted to recognize and underscore that I unreservedly support the Writers Guild and SAG-AFTRA in their strike action. I'm really hoping that a resolution comes soon. I hope that the AMPTP is finally able to figure out that they need to take this seriously, because they don't seem to be taking it very seriously thus far. And while I understand that a lot of what I'm talking about are what you would call struck projects, I also hope that if people are watching them, or if they are going to the movies, it only underscores the value of the people that are on strike and why these studios need to get those people back to work as soon as possible. So let's look at some things that are coming up for the week ahead. And I took some of your feedback in from last week, and I'm going to split it up by days. So I'm going to tell you what's coming out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. But at the end of the show, I will also break it down by broadcast, streaming, and theatrical, so you can also see it this way. Let's look at it daily first of all, and we'll start with today, Monday, September 4th, which is Labor Day here in the United States. So happy Labor Day to you. Or if you're outside the United States, then happy Monday. But let's look at some things that you can watch tonight, starting with Ancient Empires, which is airing on the History Channel. It's the premiere of a 3-part, 7-hour documentary series chronicling the empires of Alexander the Great, Cleopatra, and Julius Caesar. So if that Netflix Cleopatra show left you wanting for historical accuracy, and it sounds like it left most people wanting for historical accuracy, then this show might hit the spot. Airing tonight on TBS is the second part of American Dad's 20th season. This show has been on since February of 2005. I've seen maybe 5 to 10 of its 350 plus episodes, but American Dad is the 7th longest running scripted show in television history, behind another Seth MacFarlane show, Family Guy, and several others. The Simpsons, by the way, is the longest running scripted television show in TV history. So animation has been very good for longevity these last few decades. A movie that came out last year, actually about this time last year, and has been on some other streaming platforms before, is premiering tonight on Hulu, and that is The Banshees of Inisherin, one of my absolute favorite movies of 2022. You know, these movies kind of jump around between different services. If you haven't seen it yet, it is now available on Hulu. I highly recommend that. I think a career best performance from Colin Farrell. Brendan Gleeson is amazing in it as well. It's from writer-director Martin McDonagh, and it is well worth your time.
Do you know who we remember for how nice they was in the 17th century?
Who?
Absolutely no one. Yet we all remember the music of the time. Everyone to a man knows Mozart's name.
Well, I don't, so there goes that theory.
Moving on to tomorrow, Tuesday, September 5th, available for premium video on demand at home, is Strays. It did not have a great box office opening weekend, and with that short turnaround that Universal has worked out, that means it's eligible to go home after just 2 weekends in theaters. This is the kind of movie, an R-rated comedy, that if it doesn't do great at the box office, there's definitely an opportunity for it to do better at home. So if you didn't catch Strays in theaters, and most people apparently didn't, then you can watch it at home starting tomorrow. Also premiering tomorrow on Bravo and then streaming next day on Peacock is The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 4. I have never seen an episode of any of these shows, but I do know that they're popular. My research shows that this season will be short one of the original Salt Lake City housewives because she's in prison for conspiracy to commit wire fraud, you know, like any other normal housewife. Debuting Wednesday, September 6th is the second season of the animated Disney Plus series I Am Groot, one of the few MCU projects I actually have never watched. Kirsten Lepore returns to write and direct 5 new animated Baby Groot shorts, and it appears that Jeffrey Wright's Watcher may also make an appearance this season. Also streaming Wednesday on Disney Plus is 2023's live-action Little Mermaid remake. It put up okay numbers given its budget. If it had budgeted lower, it would have actually done pretty well at the box office. Let's see if this movie can grab some streaming minutes, which is what a lot of people have said. Well, you know, part of Disney's plan is to also put it on streaming to balance out theatrical. I'm not quite sure how sound that business plan is, but we'll see when the ratings come in for The Little Mermaid on Disney Plus. Streaming Wednesday on Netflix is the nature documentary Predators, narrated by Tom Hardy. It's a series about 5 apex predators in locations around the world. The documentary series was originally produced with Europe's Sky Nature Network and debuted there late last year. It's now making its way to streaming services here in America. And also debuting Wednesday on Netflix is the documentary Scouts Honor: The Secret Files of the Boy Scouts of America. It's from veteran director Brian Knappenberger and details a centuries worth of abuse scandals and allegations inside the Boy Scouts of America. Certainly not as uplifting as something like, say, I Am Groot Season 2, but still, it looks like this is a very important documentary and perhaps full of information that many people just might not be aware of. This Thursday, September 7th, we get the debut of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4 on Paramount+. I only watched the first few episodes of Lower Decks, but I've heard it's really developed into a solid show, and I should probably get back into it. It's hard to believe that we're on Season 4. I thought that I had just watched those episodes a couple years ago, but it was way back in 2020, so that was over 3 years ago. Time really does fly. On Netflix this Thursday is Season 5 of Virgin River. Once a year, I am surprised to see this show pop up on the Netflix ratings because I've never even heard of it, but it's popular with a lot of people who enjoyed the novels. It's 10 new episodes following Mel Monroe's life in Virgin River, California. It should be noted that this season will wrap up with 2 new holiday episodes that will premiere in November. Kung Fu Panda: The Dragon Knight Season 3 begins streaming on Netflix this Thursday. It is the 3rd Kung Fu Panda spin-off series, but the only one to feature Jack Black returning to voice Po. This is also the final season of The Dragon Knight. Season 2 debuted earlier this year, and a new Kung Fu Panda movie is currently scheduled to open in theaters early next year. However, given everything that's going on with the strikes, Who knows if it will be able to stick to that date. It's a busy week over on Netflix because also streaming on Thursday is Gamera Rebirth. Anime and kaiju fans might be interested in this show. It's an ONA series featuring the popular monster facing off against 5 other giant monsters. Gamera has yet to make an appearance in the new MonsterVerse films. No plans have been announced to reboot the film series, so hopefully this show may tide fans over. And then also streaming on Netflix this Thursday is Top Boy Season 3. This is technically the 5th series/season of Top Boy, but the 3rd produced by Netflix, which is why it's labeled as Season 3. This was a British crime series that originally debuted back in 2011. It's wrapping up with this final season. I am not at all familiar with this show, but it seems to have a very loyal fan base, so really, you could just spend the entire week only watching stuff streaming on Netflix, but there's so much more to also check out. This Friday, September 8th, of course, we get some new movies that are hitting theaters while there are still movies left to come out. The big release this week is The Nun 2. Now, the first Nun movie is maybe my least favorite horror movie of all time, and I'm really debating on whether I even want to see this one to review it. The Conjuring universe has had some really solid entries, but I thought that first Nun movie was everything wrong with modern horror movies. Nothing but empty jump scares, nothing new or creative to bring to the table. However, none of the writers or directors of the original movie are coming back. It's directed by Michael Chavez, who did the last Conjuring movie, which I didn't hate. And the writers involved with The Nun 2 have also done some solid work. So given the new creative team, I might go see it, but I had such a miserable time watching that first Nun movie. I don't know. Stay tuned here on the channel. Maybe I'll get the guts to go see it and bring you a review. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 also hits wide release this weekend. It's the 3rd in the Greek Wedding trilogy, although I have to ask, is there a wedding in this movie? Because if there isn't, then the name doesn't really make sense. If there's no wedding, you could have just called it My Big Fat Greek Vacation because the family's going to Greece. It's not like you wouldn't know what franchise it was a part of if you just changed wedding to vacation, but who knows, maybe there's a surprise wedding in there somewhere. Several films opening in limited release this weekend as well. The first one is called My Animal, which played the Sundance Film Festival. It's about a teenage girl who's secretly a werewolf and the complications it brings into a budding relationship with a new friend played by Amandla Stenberg. It's the debut film for director Jacqueline Castell, and early reviews for this movie have been positive. It was one of the movies they didn't do for the hybrid Sundance Film Festival viewers, so I didn't even have a chance to watch it earlier this year. But the buzz has been good. It's not likely that it's going to play in my market, but if it does, I'm going to try my best to check it out. Also opening in limited release this weekend is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. It's an adaptation of the 2012 novel about 2 teens and the development of their friendship and beyond. It debuted at last year's Toronto Film Festival, but is just now getting a release date. Lin-Manuel Miranda and Eugenio Derbez are among the film's producers, and the movie co-stars Derbez and Eva Longoria in supporting roles, with Max Palaio and Reese Gonzalez taking on the title characters. El Conde is a name that translates to The Count, and it is the latest film from Pablo Larraín, whose last film, Spencer, generated a Best Actress Oscar nomination for Kristen Stewart. El Conde is a political, satirical horror film, at least that's how it looks to me, that presents a world where Chilean dictator Auguste Pinochet is actually a 250-year-old vampire out for blood. The movie will have a 1-week run in limited release before debuting on Netflix next Friday, September 15th. This next movie is an interesting one. It could really go either way. It's called Hello Dankness, and it's from Soda Jerk, 2 brothers who form a filmmaking duo. Hello Dankness repurposes movie and news footage to depict the dissolution of American life between the years 2016 to 2021 as political upheaval, protests, and the pandemic dominate everyday life. It's played at a few film festivals, including the Berlin Film Festival, and seems to have been well received. And, color me curious. As an editor, I'm always interested in sort of remixing pop culture like this. And so we'll see. I don't know. These things can be oddities or they can actually have something to say. I've seen some of the clips online and it looks somewhat clever. So if I can ever get my hands on a copy of Hello Dankness, then I definitely do want to check it out. Also in limited release theatrically is Amerikatsi, which is directed by, written by, and stars Michael Gorgian. It's about an American who returns home to his birthplace in Armenia in the 1940s, only to find himself imprisoned and drawn into the life of one of the prison guards. I haven't heard a lot of advanced buzz on this, but I try to watch as many of the trailers of upcoming releases as I can when I'm preparing the show every week, and this one looked really interesting. So if you see Americazzi and you have the time, this looks like the kind of movie that you may want to take a chance on. There are several things that also are streaming starting this Friday. The first is Sitting in Bars with Cake, which is an Amazon Prime Video original movie. The film is written by Audrey Schulman based on her own book and life experiences, and stars Yara Shahidi and Odessa Azion about a woman who decides to make cakes and take them to bars in order to attract people and meet new guys. It looks like the trailer for this movie really hit a note online, so we'll see if that translates to a hit streaming movie for Amazon. Debuting on Apple TV Plus is the original series The Changeling. The first 2 episodes start streaming on Friday. This is from Kelly Marcel, the creator of the cult Fox series Terra Nova, also the writer-director of the upcoming 3rd Venom movie, and it stars Lakeith Stanfield as a father searching for his wife and missing child amid mysterious goings-on. This looks like really trippy sci-fi, and I'm a big Lakeith Stanfield fan, so I look forward to forgetting to check my Apple TV Plus until like 2 years from now, and then maybe watching this 18 months after the buzz around this show has died down. That's just the way it works now. My weird pick of the week goes to a movie that premieres for video on demand and also theatrically this week, and it's called Good Boy. It's a Norwegian film, and there's just something about a lot of these Scandinavian films. They're deliciously weird. It's about a woman who meets a guy and they're really getting along. She ends up going to his house, and then she finds out too late that this guy lives with another guy who dresses up and acts as if he's his pet dog. If you want something offbeat and unlike anything else releasing this week, then Good Boy might be your pick. I can't say whether it's good or whether it's bad, but it is definitely Norwegian. A few different series also hit Netflix this Friday in case you ran out of other things that came out the day before. One of them is a new series from South Korea. The name of the series is A Time Called You, and it's about a woman grieving the death of her boyfriend who wakes up in the past as a different person and meets a guy who looks exactly like her dead boyfriend. This seems to be a situation that's packed with the potential for high drama and emotion, and this is a very strategic part of Netflix's future. They're investing heavily in Korean programming, and this is just the latest series that they're bringing to people around the world. Also streaming on Netflix this Friday is an 8-episode series called Spy Ops, featuring former intelligence officers detailing some of the most consequential operations of all time and how they used their skills to change history. This show looks really cool to me, which is a surefire sign that I just turned 40. If you're younger than me, call your dad or call your uncle and tell them about Spy Ops this weekend on Netflix, because they'll probably thank you for it. And finally, this Friday streaming on Netflix is Selling the OC Season 2. I thought the idea of this show sounded fun, high-priced real estate, some high stakes, but the trailer pretty much makes this look like the umpteenth version of people getting drunk and shouting at each other, so it's a no for me. But if you like things messy, and the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City just wasn't messy enough for you, or you ran out of that messy vibe from earlier in the week, then I guess Selling the OC Season 2 is the right kind of messy for you. Wrapping out the week, this upcoming Sunday, September 10th, are a couple of broadcast debuts. The first is the latest season of The Masked Singer. The rest of the season doesn't debut until later this month, but after this first week of NFL games, Fox is debuting one episode. The buzz around this episode is that it's got a big unmasking, one of the biggest in the show's history, which means that I might actually know the person who takes the mask off, because we're at about 70% me not knowing who the hell these people are at this point when they unmask them. And then also on Sunday night is the new Walking Dead spinoff series, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. And you know, it's like The Walking Dead never left, because it hasn't really. This is the second spinoff series this year after Dead City, which finds Daryl Dixon in France to have more Walker adventures. You know, I remember when I first started watching The Walking Dead all those years ago, it took him like an entire season to get from one part of Georgia to another part of Georgia. And now Daryl's over in Europe. I'm sure that they have some explanation for it, but the Walking Dead universe really is growing. They got people going to like California, New York, France. Do they have an airline that's up and running? Have they figured out some way to like fast travel at this point? Again, I would know this if I watched all the shows, but I gave up on them so long ago. However, if you are a Walking Dead fan, and if you're a Daryl Dixon fan, and you want a Walking Dead show that stars Daryl Dixon, well then The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon is the show for you. And who knows, if the buzz is good on this thing, maybe I'll go back and watch it. I just got so burnt out on The Walking Dead, but they are still making those shows. So that's the rundown for this upcoming week, day by day. Let's look at it as far as platform goes. As far as broadcast premieres this week, on Monday you have Ancient Empires on the History Channel and American Dad on TBS. On Tuesday you have The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 4 on Bravo. And on Sunday you have The Masked Singer on Fox and The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon on AMC. When it comes to streaming premieres, this Monday, today, The Banshees of Inisherin is now available on Hulu. Tomorrow, you can get Strays available for purchase and premium video on demand. On Wednesday, I Am Groot Season 2 and The Little Mermaid debut on Disney+, and Predators and Scouts Honor: The Secret Files of the Boy Scouts of America debut on Netflix. Coming up this Thursday, Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4 debuts on Paramount+, and Netflix has a whole slew of premieres, including Virgin River Season 5, Kung Fu Panda: The Dragon Knight Season 3, Gamera Rebirth, and Top Boy Season 3. On Friday, the Amazon Prime original movie Sitting in Bars with Kate premieres, as well as the Apple TV Plus original series The Changeling. Good Boy is also available on demand. And then on Netflix, the South Korean series A Time Called You debuts alongside Spy Ops Season 1 and Selling the OC Season 2. And then looking theatrically, it all happens this Friday with The Nun 2 and My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 hitting wide release. And then in limited release, we have My Animal, Amerikatsky, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, El Conde, and Hello Dankness. And that, of course, is just a sliver of what's available. There are twice as many shows and movies and everything else. I try to curate it as best I can, but that's certainly not everything that's out there. Did I miss anything? Is there something you think should be on my radar? Let me know down in the comments below. And before we go, I want to thank the sponsor for this video, ExpressVPN. Picture this, you're at a coffee shop enjoying a drink and doing some work when that coffee really hits you and you need to use the bathroom right away. Now, would you walk away and leave your computer open and unprotected? I mean, sure, it might be there when you get back, but do you want to take that chance? Well, every time you connect to an unencrypted network, any hacker on that same network can gain access to your personal data with some cheap hardware and basic knowledge. That's why you need ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN creates a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so that hackers can't steal your sensitive data. Just fire up the app, click one button, and you are protected on your phone, your laptop, your tablet, and more, so you can stay secure on the go. I love knowing that I'm getting ExpressVPN's protection no matter where I am. A couple of weeks ago, I used my computer in an airport, on a plane, and at a hotel, and not once did I give the security of my personal information a second thought because I was connected to ExpressVPN the whole time. If you're not worried about your data security, then you should be, and if you are, then you need ExpressVPN because it provides security and peace of mind. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/Murrell. That's expressvpn.com/Murrell, and you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/Murrell. Thanks to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching. Be sure to stay tuned this week as I'll have charts in a couple days, as well as movie news and reviews. I may even try to get a streaming charts episode out to talk about the viewership numbers for One Piece, which look like they're going to be pretty high. Until next time, thanks for spending part of your day here with me. Stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.